Let's now go across live and exclusive. Joining us for her first television interview is Greenpeace activist Priya Pillai. Tonight, it's India versus Priya Pillai. Priya, welcome to Headlines Today. I'm going to quote extensively during this interview from the affidavit that the union has presented before the High Court. And I want you to respond to each of the points that the government is making against you. Their principal reason, Priya, for not wanting you to leave India and go to the United Kingdom is that the government believes that the European Parliament is likely to bring out a heavily biased report on rights violations in India, which could potentially open India up to a sanctioned regime, which is why they believe they need to stop you. Do you not think that is reason enough, which would be justified, Priya?
It's baseless. Where is the law in it? You know, where they have to substantiate it with evidence. You know, they just can't say out of the air, which they have not done. You know, this is totally baseless and ridiculous allegation that, you know, my going and talking to a company, to a bunch of parliamentarians in UK, because a company that is violating Indian laws of Indian citizens in this country is based in that country, is registered in that country, will bring back sanctions to this country is ridiculous.
No, because this affidavit says that these instruments have been used recently against Iran, Russia and North Korea, and these sanctions have had an impact on growth rates, well-being and happiness of citizens in these countries. Therefore, it says that if Priya were to go out, depose, and these parliamentary committees come out with these negative reports on the basis of its sanctions are leveled, it would hurt India's growth rate and the general happiness of Indian citizens. That's the government's contention against you, Priya.
Rahul, we are talking about a democracy, right? We are, and the names that you've taken, are they the idealistic democracies that we want to follow? You know, across the globe, you know, it's ridiculous that we are comparing India with these countries, you know. So I really don't understand what is happening and why they want to say that, you know, do we want India to be like Iran? Do we want India to be like Korea? What is it that we want to, you know, say in this whole thing, you know? So I totally refute all this that has been said on this account, basically.
No, but Priya, ever since this entire story came to light, we've been speaking to other NGO activists also, and they said that, you know, it's incorrect for Priya Pillai to go out and wash our dirty laundry abroad. If this is a problem, Priya should take it up with the Indian state, try and resolve this within the mechanics and the institutions that the Indian government provides, instead of going out and dissing India on an international forum.
Rahul, I don't know which activists you're talking about, and I don't want to get into that matter, but what I'd like to tell you is that for 4.5 years now we've been working in Mahan, and we have approached every body in India. You know, it's not like we are not talking to the avenues, we are not talking on the forums or the avenues available in India. You know, we filed a court case in the National Green Tribunal. There was a case that we filed on Mahan violations and the forgery that happened in Mahan in the Jabalpur High Court of Madhya Pradesh, basically. We've met, you know, parliamentarians, we've tried to meet with ministers, we've spoken to, you know, political parties, we interact and speak with like-minded civil society organizations. Kishore Chandra Dev, who was the ex-Tribal Affairs Minister, also wrote a letter to the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh as well as the Governor once he was appraised of the issues, both by me as well as Mahan Sangharsh Samiti, who is the community that is living in Mahan and whose livelihoods are at threat by this mine. So I don't know what we are saying. While we have been exploring these avenues, we are talking to them, and we will not stop talking, because I am a citizen in India and I have every right, and
Priya,
I have great faith in these avenues. You know, I have a great faith in the courts of this country.
Sure,
but that doesn't stop me from going to another country and talking to you know, civil society organizations or people there, because the company in question is registered in that country. You know, the company who is violating the rights of people in this country and causing grave human rights violations and environmental violations is registered in UK. Until mid last year, this company was enlisted in the London Stock Exchange.
Priya, this affidavit says that activists such as Medha Patkar, P.V. Rajagopal, Nandini Sundar, Admiral Ramdas, Arun Roy, Praful Bidwai, and these are all big names in the NGO sector, have all been invited by international committees to come out and depose against India, but these activists have refused to do so. They're saying that you're essentially the first of a kind, wanting to go out and depose against your own country.
I don't want to go into the details I don't want to go into the details of the affidavit because, as you know, this matter is sub judice. It wouldn't be fair to talk about the details and rebut it because we've already filed a counter affidavit. We filed a rejoinder today. So the matter is in court, and it would be totally unfair to be talking about these things on media. What I can share with the media is about the whole thing that the government today asked me to give an undertaking in written that I wouldn't speak about violations, and if I gave such an undertaking, then I would be allowed to leave this country and travel abroad. But the thing is, I refuse to give that undertaking because I refuse to take on a gag order on me. As a citizen of this country, I have every right to peacefully protest, to talk, freely express my opinion within the constitutional limits.
But
which
is
I'm
this
doing
not
and
true,
which I'm
Priya,
entitled to do.
that other
I'm not
activists
willing to
also,
write
let's
off
step
any such
aside,
right that the constitution has given me.
let's step aside from the affidavit for a moment, but is it not true that multiple other activists have also been extended a similar invitation, and those activists have not accepted the invitation? I was speaking to Sunita Narayan from the Center of Science and Environment, and she said that they get these invitations very often, but they believe that the way to deal with the problem is to engage and negotiate with the Indian government instead of going abroad. Other activists get similar invitations, but they don't take up those offers, Priya.
See, Rahul, I really don't want to comment about other people, what they do and why they don't do anything, or what is their strategy. I know why we decided to go to UK and talk to a bunch of parliamentarians there. We have a specific reason on why, and it is not like it's never happened. In Vedanta, when Vedanta was here, people from Niyamgiri have gone and spoken to civil society and other groups in UK, and it's not something that's unheard of. There have been people who've gone and deposed before other countries. I was not going to make a deposition. I was not going to do a testimony. I was just going to have an interaction with civil society as well as parliamentarians who are interested to listen to this thing. And the reason why I was going there, I want to say this time and again, there is a reason behind why I was going to UK. The reason is that SR, one of the groups that is violating the Forest Rights Act and human rights violations as well as environmental violations in Mahan, is registered in UK. It has got a registered office in UK.
But the Ministry of Home Affairs, Priya, says that on 8 occasions, Priya, on 8 occasions between 2007 and 2012, you've been allowed to go abroad. The government has never had a problem, because that time you didn't have an anti-India agenda.
Law? I want to ask, is it forbidden by law that you cannot go and talk about human rights violations? Human rights violations and environmental violations knows no geographical boundaries. They are issues that go beyond countries, they go beyond boundaries, geographical boundaries. So I don't understand why this hue and cry about an issue when the issue is very, very genuine. We have evidence of forgery. We have evidence of forgery based on a forged Gram Sabha document.
No, but why not fight that case here? If you're saying you have faith in the Indian courts, why not fight that case here?
We have been raising this. No, but we are doing it here. But what stops us from also doing it in other avenues? I don't know that. It's not illegal, right? It's not illegal.
The government says that Greenpeace's funding in India is very opaque.
Look at the Menaka Gandhi case, Rahul. It goes beyond the boundaries of this country,
Priya, the government says that Greenpeace's funding in India is very opaque. All your money comes from Greenpeace International. Greenpeace International doesn't declare where it's getting its funding from very clearly. All of the donors are very small donors. Unlike other NGOs which clearly establish who's giving them money, Greenpeace doesn't do so. It's very opaque. They're saying that these are vested interests trying to create an anti-India global mood, and that's what they're trying to prevent. They're saying that you're acting against India's interests.
We have said very clearly, we are a transparent organization. 74% of the funds in this of Greenpeace India is raised in this country. It is money that Indian citizens give us. We are registered in India, in Chennai. We have an Indian board, and we have majority of our employees are from India. I don't know how you can say this, because all this information is out there. It's not a matter of, you can go and look at it. That information is out there for anybody to come and see. Our database is there. Anybody can see who's giving money to us.
I have one final question for you, Priya, before I let you go. The government says that Greenpeace's funding was curtailed by the Ministry of Home Affairs in 2014 because there's specific information to show that Greenpeace plans to take down 40,000 megawatts of proposed thermal projects by creating a spectre of anti-India protests and agitation through these foreign funded protests, you're trying to, essentially slow down India's growth process.
Rahul, all these things that the government of India is saying is baseless. Yes, we are fighting for the rights of tribal communities in Mahan. Why can't the government of India, isn't the Forest Rights Act a constitutional act? Should we not work on the implementation of laws that are passed by the Indian Parliament? Just because we are talking or we are on the other side of the story, we don't become anti-national.
What do you intend to do next, Priya?
As in, I didn't get your question.
Now that the government has taken this tough stance, what does Priya Pillai intend to do next?
I continue to talk about the violations, in a peaceful manner in this country, and I continue to keep the fight up. I don't think we are going to stop fighting for what we believe is truly, I don't believe we are going to stop fighting for what is rightful, we are going to continue to stand by our convictions.
Here's what I wish to say in conclusion.
I'm going to move back.
We've asked Priya Pillai the questions that needed to be asked, but surely as a nation, we are resilient enough to be able to take whatever criticism Priya Pillai puts out. And even if she wishes to go out and say things that are anti-India, the Indian government and the Indian state is big enough to take that. You can't clamp down on dissent just because you don't like what Priya Pillai is saying. It's completely unfair. I hope better sense prevails. Yes, of course, there is national interest, but everyone has the right to say what they want, whether they say it in India or they say it abroad. And the Indian government must be able to deal with this.